You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the October 6th meeting for the Michigan City Port Authority Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening. Welcome to the Michigan City Port Authority Board of Directors meeting. I call the meeting to order, and I'm looking for approval and correction to the September 22nd meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion that we approve September 22nd minutes.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Comments from public. Everybody good out there? Nice to see you all. Glad you can make it. All right. Reports from the harbor master, Mr. Frank.
All right. Since last time, we've retrieved the buoys from along the shoreline. Interestingly, one showed up this morning that we appear to have missed, and to solve the mystery, we went out there to get it today, thinking it had just drifted in from somewhere else. Well, no, it was still anchored to the ground. Well, apparently the foam had come out of the inside of it, and over the summer it filled with water and sank. And with the weather as warm as it is, I think some swimmers found it, emptied it, and now it was floating this morning. So we went out and retrieved that one this morning. We have ongoing haul out and winterizing going on down at Trail Creek. And other than that, things are kind of winding down here, as you'll see all the slips that are empty now. So we're getting into fall. Probably next week, normally we aim for the 15th. We'll start looking at turning the water off in the bathrooms. Depending on the weather, we might stretch that out a little bit, but that's the current plan. And then you'll find in your packet a letter from Chief Switzdeck, who's the Long Beach Police, I believe, town marshal, town administrator. So they've applied for a grant through, I believe, Homeland Security to get a 29-foot police boat. And their plan is to share that with the Michigan City Police, the County Sheriff's Department, and I believe the Fire Department. And they're looking for a slip, and they're hoping that we would have one and would be willing to waive the slip fee. I told them I would present that at the meeting, but that it would be up to you guys on what direction we go. So that's all I have for now, unless anybody has any questions.
I guess I just have one. The grant is just going to cover the cost of the boat there. You won't
As I know.
That's it.
What number?
Wouldn't cost any kind of docking or anything like
I
that.
don't believe so.
No fuel, they pay for their own. And
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, apparently each user, be it the county, the city, or Long Beach, is going to be responsible for their own fuel. Right. So,
Jim, I see on the letter, it does say not just for the year, but it says annually from Memorial Day to October 1st. So they're asking for the slip for as long as they have that boat.
right.
Just pointing it out.
What do we do for other governmental agencies?
Currently, the Coast Guard pays.
Okay.
In the past, we have provided a slip for the city police when they had a boat. And we did the same thing for Long Beach, though I think they had theirs up at Trail Creek on the rack service.
Mm-hmm.
They have since taken it, well, actually, related to this, they're trading it in or auctioning it or something, because it's going to be replaced with this one. The city let go of theirs a handful of years ago. So we've gone both ways, right?
Mm-hmm. Do we have a slip available?
Potentially. There's one on the 100 West at the moment, a 30-footer that I believe is available.
So that's the ideal spot.
Well, yeah, they would like to be able to get in and out as quick as possible. Years ago, we had them on the beginning of the 700 dock, which if you're in a hurry to get out is kind of awkward.
Right.
Right? First you have to fight through whatever traffic to get into the park, And then since you're at the beginning of the 700 dock, you gotta make it all the way through to get out. On this side, you come in right here next to the gas dock and right around the corner and you're out. So,
It's a 29-foot boat and a 30-foot slip. I think before we could even consider this, we would have to make sure that they understood that you can't put anything else behind that boat because it's sticking out into the channel, and that would be another problem. So I think we should table this until we actually talk to those people and find out, make sure they know all our rules and regulations before we say, okay, you can have a slip.
Well, wouldn't that be part of accepting the slip? They would go through the normal process of getting all the paperwork and signing on to understanding of that stuff?
yeah.
Okay.
I almost would lean toward just having a
Have a what?
nominal administration fee. Maybe like a reduced $250 fee, just so they actually pay something towards it for the office to keep everything, and it keeps them more liable to the agreement instead of them just thinking that it's free to do whatever they want.
I think it's a good idea that we have them available in the marina, just personally, as a former boat owner.
Well, I
In
don't
the
disagree with
marina.
that at all.
So I support doing something so that they can have a slip in here. And I think the boss's idea of a couple $100 or something on an annual fee or something is
Just for administration,
Yeah.
the state, it's still gonna cost you money to do everything we gotta do.
Right.
I'm assuming next spring they'll come and say, hey, can we winterize with you guys too? And we winterize our boat and can you store it too at no cost? And you're gonna run into, I'm sure, all that. Just a thought. And I'm sure they're gonna want a dozen fobs to get into the gate because there's gonna be so many different
Most of
people.
them have them already. Most of the people that'll be on those boats are already captains of these different boats here. So you're not gonna have a novice out there on that boat. Because most times they're gonna go out there, it's not gonna be the best time to go on that lake. So,
Is that what you were talking about, Dan? Were you talking about end of season servicing fees? It's start.
Yeah, they're gonna want free storage probably and have, you guys winterize our boat for us too. And you got a place to keep it because we don't have a place.
Is that part of this?
yeah, let's probably the good idea to table it, and I'll call Mr. Swistek myself and have a conversation with him so we're all on the same page.
I'll second the motion to table.
Sounds good.
Before we do,
All in favor?
All in favor?
before we do, one other question in regards to the 30-foot slip. What is it rent for?
About 35.
I don't know, I'd have to pull.
That's
I wanna say it's
around
around, yeah, it's just under $3,000.
Yeah.
2,800, right around there maybe.
Okay.
For the whole season?
All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll bring it back up this meeting after we have a conversation. That's it. That's it. Anything else for Mr. Frank?
Well, I guess there's no, yeah, one other thing with this, I guess there's no place over by the DNR where they could store it, huh?
Yeah, well,
In the water,
Right.
not in the water.
right.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, that was my first comment earlier. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, did you put over there?
yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yep, not a problem.
Good point.
B&E sure might have a spot, you know.
We may.
All right, reports from the Assistant Harbor Master, Mrs. Blake.
We've been working on the budget with Mr. Ferguson and Tim. Also working on getting the paperwork done for the insurance company so that they can have everything ready in November to come in for the proposal. And in the past, they did pay for winterizing of their boats, the Long Beach Police. I think
Restored them.
we stored them, but anything that we were out of pocket, they paid for.
So they paid for labor and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the past.
okay.
And that's all I have.
All right, Mr. Ferguson, Budget and Financial Oversight and Review and Approval of Data Budget.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to go over the bills quickly if we can, and I'd like to talk some about the upcoming planning for next year's budget and some of the revenue things we're looking at and some of the expenditures we've already incurred that we feel excessive. Let's just take a look at the front page of the bills. Pretty self-explanatory. I'm just going to kind of walk down credit card, petroleum, environmental things, advertising. Look at that huge NIPSCO bill, which we'll get into in a minute. A little more detail of those kind of things, you know. The NIPSCO bill, is that do we think that's closer to like a 6-week bill, or that sounds great. Yeah, and we've got some fuel dock repairs there for a gentleman that does, a company, I guess that's a company, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Pretty straightforward. Okay, we've got that chunk of 104 and some change. And then the EFTs, and they're broken out, the credit card fees you see, sales tax that we've incurred, that we've collected and we need to pay out, and all of that, plus there's another 20, almost 2,700 that's would be in the details here that I'm not going to go into. And all of that totals, down to the bottom of the page, totals $121,060 and, excuse me, 25 cents. And with that, I'll make a motion that we accept this as stated on this sheet of paper.
I have a question.
We need a second, I think, first. I think.
What's the 10,900 ice machine next
That
to
was
it?
for the ice machine that was part of the credit card bill.
That's part of the credit card? Oh, just the bill itself for
Yes.
payment on, okay,
Yeah.
got it. That's the breakout. Got it.
That's the big,
Okay.
Any other questions?
No other questions, just one other comment, since it's not, we're not to advertising and public relations. However, we have a bill on there for LaPorte Herald Advertising Visitors Bureau, $1,750. That is for our renewal in the Visitors Bureau, our ad. So I just wanted everybody to be aware, since we're going to approve the bills here. I don't have to bring it up later, but that's what that's for. Correct, Marion? Oh.
I'll second the motion then to pay our bills.
Thursday, all in favor?
Aye.
I just want, so the credit card fees, that's the fees that we're getting charged for people using the credit cards?
Yes.
Right. So I just absorb that for a second, because I think everyone just doesn't realize how much that actually builds up to be, and we need to offset that. So that's what we're talking about, doing an offset.
And we'll be kicking that around a little bit here. There's a little couple pieces of paper, piece of paper that Marianne has put together, and she and I, whichever way that's going. Bruce, did you get what? Don't use that, or rather.
You got it.
So we'll just talk about that and a few other things as we muddle through this. Now wait until you have that. We'll go to these items also. Here it is, October, and normally we're well into the season of putting stuff together for next year. And we have quite a concern here because, as you're well aware, that the computer systems have been down throughout the city and they're slowly coming back up, and we don't have much available yet. Please correct me if I say too much. So we're putting together things to put it finally in the computer and pass them out so that we can go on to normal business. But these are the things, these are the things that we see as problem areas on the top half of this piece of paper. These are increases that we see are significant expenses, we walked down that list, security, landscaping, cleaning supplies, NIPSCO rates skyrocketing as we know, as we see every month when we go through the bills. The environmental, which is in general, it's to make sure we don't dump stuff in that we shouldn't, and it's also to get rid of the plants in the marina. Paper insurance went up, equipment upkeep, just that's very standard. Okay, here are the things that we're thinking of increasing, or increases in revenue. The ramp charges go up $5. Overnight rentals up $5 minimum from 45 to 50. Slip rentals we're talking about, this is for the season, 6% would bring in about 110,000. Winter rate increases, and those are for services, right, and for storage?
Yeah.
They get for about 15. And we've talked about, and I brought up to the board a couple of times, the fact that we're getting hit $70,000 to $80,000 a year on having to pay credit card fees that people use their credit card. The credit card machine, the people, companies back charge us for that privilege, of which you see. Even on today's statement, you see some minor ones that have come in today. I believe it was a couple $1,000s in that general, just in the last 2 weeks. So those, and we've looked into whether or not we can, we get some of that money back, if not all of it, and just like everybody else is doing. Restaurants and things. Again, we've talked about this. So we thought we'd have a presentation, well, not a big deal presentation, but we thought we'd have a percent objective to say, hey, this is what we plan to do, or we would like to do with board approval, is charge 3.5% of credit card purchases, slip rental, gasoline. But in researching it with the credit card companies, we're not sure exactly how to go about that yet. And we've got Joe taking a look at some things. So what I'm hoping to do tonight is to have a quick discussion on the credit card fees and say, hey, yeah, we think this is a good idea, and we'll let the staff deal with this, and they'll come back with what the final report on how to handle the administrative function of this. So that's what we're thinking. I wanted to present it tonight, just say, hey, we're all set to do this. All we have to do is get board approval. Don't have that yet, but I'd like to get the idea out there that yes, and I wouldn't mind having a little discussion on that so that we could get a flavor of what we feel on that. Joe?
Well, so I think you want to put it back on the table because
Sure. I would like to talk about credit card fees, and also, as I mentioned a minute ago, I'd like to bring up the 6% just increase. So I'd just like to, if possible, have a discussion of both of those issues.
I don't think we understood. You to take it off the table.
No, you don't have to. It's considered old business from last week. We changed,
okay, I see.
we changed it from,
I got it.
old
Because I
business.
saw the tabled credit card fees, but that's not an old business. Right. So withdraw my comment.
Joe, if you have any discussion you could offer on the credit card fees, Mary Ann just said before the meeting that she thought you were kind of looking into it.
Well, I didn't have a chance today to look into it. I had a hearing, got back from that a little late, but I will as soon as possible.
That's all right.
There are probably, I'm sure there are state regulations. There may also be regulations at the federal level. And, yeah, okay, so my sense is that the state regulations are going to comply with whatever federal regulations are out there because there's what's called the supremacy clause. And federal law is supreme. So if there's a federal law in an area, a state law can't.
Mary Ann today, I believe it was today, a couple days ago, found something from the Indiana credit card surcharge laws going back in that states certain things. That says, Indiana merchants can implement surcharges up to 4% max, and it goes on to explain some different things. So we're just looking into that to see the best way to do that with board approval. I would like to get board approval that we think that idea is a good idea, but that comes later. What I would like to hear from the board is, what do we think about charging the credit cards, you know? We need to recover that revenue, that expense. Does anybody have any comments on this? Anyone, go ahead.
Well, I think we should do it because it seems like no matter where you go now, or whatever you buy, whether it's restaurants or theaters or you name it, you always have to pay that fee up front there. You know, it's they add it on to your bills, what they do.
Yeah.
They add their percentage that they would have to give to the credit card company. They add it onto your bill instead of them paying it, you know. It's pretty rampant just about everywhere you go.
It's commonplace.
I mean, it's commonplace. It really is, and there's no reason we shouldn't be doing it either.
I kind of agree with Bruce, we almost have to do it. Is that gonna be on fuel charges too? You won't just
Just
automatically?
credit card. If it's a credit card, ATM cards won't get hit a fee. ATM purchases don't get hit fees in the credit card systems. Now, if you have there's different ways you could hit an ATM, but we don't, as rules normally go, we don't get charge fees on ATMs. So we'll have to double check that.
And according to what I've read in the rules, that you can't charge on the debit card.
Right, so that's debit card, yeah, that's so.
I have an interjection on that comment. I think a good point to bring up is, my understanding is that our formula for the way that we mark up fuel for resale is we already have a percentage figured in there for the credit card portion of it. And so that, to me, it would be like double fee if we're charging a fee on top of a fee. If we want to maybe look at the way that we mark up fuel and do all of that, that could be a consideration. I also think that for simplicity's sake, for gas dock attendants and things like that, if the percentage is already figured into the way that we mark up the fuel, that there, in my eyes, wouldn't need to be a line item on there for an additional percentage charge in fuel sales. Now, with that being said, I would like to know, in the $70,000 to $80,000 annuals that we're accruing in those fees, how much of that is related to fuel sales?
I could take that for because it's a different credit card.
Sure.
But
Does that make sense?
it makes sense, but we're trying to recover that money, and it's not just in fuel, but it's also in slip rail.
Well, I understand.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's two separate issues, in my eyes. The way I understand that we mark up fuel. It's two separate issues in my eyes.
Well, how do we do fuel? I've been under the impression that we get fuel and we pay, we pay what we pay for fuel, basically we break it down to per gallon or whatever, and then we just add 50 cents a gallon. And so if we pay for it already, it's,
Yeah, so we're not offsetting the fee, we're offsetting the expense. We're just trying to keep above the water on gas. So there's not a credit card association fee in there or wherever associated with the markup of the gas.
Well, my understanding was in the original formula that was taken into account. Now, whether that was 20 years ago or
Yeah.
whenever that was done, right?
Yeah.
That was discussed and talked about.
Because that was that was gonna be credit card sales out there.
Mm-hmm.
And that, in that 50 cents included the credit card fees and helping to maintain the fuel dock.
Mm-hmm.
Because it had to have special phone lines and other equipment with it.
Right. And my argument also to it would be, as far as the fee portion goes for the fuel sales, I'm not necessarily talking about the rates for whatever anyone else is paying for at the counter, but as far as fuel sales go, when you or any of us go up to a fuel station and we pay for fuel in our vehicle, we don't get charged a fee. If we're paying at the pump, we're paying for that gas the same way someone's walking
Sure.
in the station.
Use a credit card, you can get hit a fee.
No, I don't. I would argue that. I don't know any station that charges me extra because I'm paying with a credit card versus a person walking off the street and paying cash.
EP on Michigan Boulevard.
Yeah, I think a lot of them, what they do is the cash price is low.
Yeah,
Nichols.
Advertise, well, okay. Okay.
cash
Right,
price.
cash,
That's how it's
price,
done.
credit's different, and they're getting more than their fair share on that.
So maybe, a discussion could be talked about in the way that we formulate our fuel in our pricing.
Good thing to bring to the committee.
I threw that out. I thought that's how we did, you know, we, whatever it costs us per gallon, we add 50 cents. That's the gross cost. Maybe you're right, but I've never heard of any additional fees that have been rolled into the price of gas. I mean, the people we buy gas from, they don't roll in a little extra for what we need to get back from using a credit card. Now, maybe you guys do things a little different.
It's not about what we do. I'm not.
Oh, all right.
No.
Because, and as far as gasoline sales, when you're using a car, well, they roll all that into the price of gas to start with.
Understood.
All right.
So let me just put a hypothetical out there. Does anybody have an idea as to what the credit card machine would do at the fuel dock as far as an attendant making that happen and making that
Well,
work?
that's what all the things I think we're looking at. That's what we're not asking tonight to
Well, I understand.
the operation or the process.
No,
The idea of getting the revenue back somehow.
I realize we're not, putting it out there to approve tonight. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
Yeah, I would like to see it added on to the pump. I personally, every time I put fuel, it's cash. I don't use credit cards. I use cash. And I don't want to see pay 3% or whatever for the fuel I buy and pay cash for it.
Right.
Well,
I guess we'd have to talk to Oscar Larson, but
Be more like any other gas station. This is the price for cash and this is the price for credit.
these are all good points. And that's why I wanted to bring it up for discussion, because it's not something we wanted to throw in, but we're just trying to get back this money that it's costing us every year. That's all. There was another option that we were kicking around that I really didn't like after we talked about it quite a bit, and that was to just add 15 cents to the 50 cents we already had on. Say a gallon of gas costs us, to the gas and oil company, costs us $3.50 a gallon. Let's just say $3 a gallon. And we automatically put 50 cents on. Now, that's what we do. Now, to get some of this other revenue, we just add another 15 cents back and charge all gasoline customers an extra 15 cents because they're already paying the 50. But, there's discussion back and forth with that too.
I wouldn't support that.
No.
No, that's what I mean.
I'm not suggesting that at this point, but that is
Well,
junk.
as long as I've been on the board, I've never heard the extra 50 cents per the gallon to cover expenses other than the insurance, the cost it takes to get the pump out to the end of the dock, or out to the dock. Insurance and staff and maintenance. That's what that 50 cents a gallon is for. I've never heard it.
yeah, it's always been to help offset the credit cards, because when it wasn't until we put this system in that we did the credit cards, like when it was at the end of the 300 dock and that, there was no monitoring things for it.
Okay.
And that was with Mr. Baldwin.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think maybe a committee and discuss it and do a little research on it.
Be a good idea.
Mr. President, we're in a,
What is there a reason?
I don't know where to go with this, on this subject anymore.
Well, it all comes down to, the fact is 50 cents relevant enough for the offset of what we're doing with the money for gas? We're paying for the electric, for the gas, is it paying for the insurance, is it covering it? Are we still at a deficit at 50 cents, or are we still at a gain at 50 cents? For our exposure and all the bills. I don't think we have enough information to make that argument either which way. So I think we need to have a little bit more information, figure out what, because we got totals, we knew from last year to this year, and know how much money that money was, how much that money gets paid out,
Right.
and what our actual exposure is, how much are we losing on that 50 cent equation, or how much are we gaining on that 50 cent equation? Because over the last 4 years, that 50 cents has been eaten up tremendously.
Right.
So, I mean, I think it is a good idea to reformulate and relook at it and have a group of people sit down, and once you have the raw numbers, and really make a good decision. That's my thought.
I guess I'm hearing from the board good questions, good answers, that the idea of trying to find some extra revenue based upon the gas sales that, as we will look at later on slip rental increasing. So we use a credit card for a lot of slip rental. I mean, the idea to pair that, or to get some revenue on these expenses, it's not a bad idea to work through, to try to. So I think,
Yeah, because you might be surprised how much exposure, how much we're spending. You might want to dive a little deeper in those numbers and make sure that we're not costing ourselves $10,000 a year for no reason.
Right.
I think we need to get to the bottom of that calculation.
Yeah.
And what's offsetting that.
off to the side, I'd suggest that the staff, and perhaps you and I kind of put our heads together and come up with an idea, a plan to present.
I'll get Chris to come along.
And Chris.
Sure. Be happy to do it.
Okay, that's all I have on that specific issue. I'd like to talk briefly about slip rentals, if I might. Slip rental increase, we've got the increases in the expenditures. You see that, and we're hurting for revenue. Last year, we increased the slips, I believe it was 4%, 3%. Okay, because Mr. Messina asked me during the week, and I said I believed it was, but okay. Just looking to bring more money in, and the way we bring money in, revenue in to pay our bills, is probably almost 85 to 90% through slip rentals. Costs are going up, trying to cover expenses. 6% is roughly $110,000. And we have a little bit of a timing problem with the computers in the city kind of either being down or not fully up, and that we need to also get our bills for our first buildings up for next year relatively soon, in the next month and a half, in that time period. So we need to make a decision on what can we approve as far as slip rental increases. So I'm proposing that Ed with staff would talk, proposing a 6% increase across the board next year. So that's the point I'd like to bring out, just to have a quick discussion on, and then I'll make a motion that we do that.
So currently, annually, it's $2,800 to run a slip.
Well, it just depends on
Yeah,
the
it depends
size
on
of the
which
slip.
one, so it just.
So just an average slip,
Right.
just, that's an
You
average
use
fee.
three,
That's-
you use 3,000.
Say 3,000.
And, okay, say if you're saying 3,000, then your 6% is raising it to
$180 more.
$128 more,
180.
$180
The season.
for this whole season, right,
Whole
right,
season.
right. Okay.
And 110,000 will gain. Where do you come up with that figure? That based on 2025?
I don't have all the details right in front of me, Dan, but it wasn't something we just pulled out of the air.
Yeah.
We looked at the slips, what the average cost was of slips, and figured out how many slips we had and what an increase would be, something. And it came very close to that. In fact, I think it could have been a little more, might have been just a little less, but that's the area.
Maybe just a comment.
Sure.
And I know I can't vote on it, and I still don't understand that, but I go along with it. Probably X amount of years, 8, 9, 10 years ago, we had almost 90 to 100% capacity in the marina. We went 3 or 4 years without increasing fees, slip fees.
I think we went 9.
Last year, we didn't go that many years without increasing, is that what you're saying?
I believe so.
And we never lost people. Last year, we went up 3 or 4, whatever we said, and we lost a good number of boaters because of the increase. If you're gonna give them another 6% this year, I think we're gonna lose more boaters because of increasing slip fees. And I think it won't offset the difference if you don't raise it.
Okay. But I shouldn't speak on operational issues, but let me address 2 points that you brought up. Operationally, I believe was at capacity
About
to the
15 open slips.
Pardon me?
About 15 open slips this year.
15 out of 580 to 600.
604.
And we've, as far as I know, we've had essentially a waiting list in the spring of 20 to 30 people trying to get in here. And did that change over the last couple of years?
Depends on the size.
Okay.
Some sizes are more popular than others.
Okay, so from the way I look at it, not the operational people, they're over there, is that while you might be corrected that we're losing people, people still want to get in. That's one point on that I just want to make. Also, I think the primary reason why we didn't have to raise rates for 9 years, and I accept a significant amount of the failing of this from an analytical standpoint, and that's what I did for a living, is we collectively forgot that when we stopped having to pay $1,000 a day for the bonds to pay off the bonds for the last major upgrade we did on the marina, we had an extra $1,000 a day to spend. And we did. It took us 8 or 9 years to spend all of that extra money that we already had, so we didn't do increases. What we should have been doing all along and taking care of the cost of living increases and just had 1 or 2 or 3% increases all along. I should have seen that. I'm either here or on the president's slip for quite a while, and I didn't see it. Tim and I kicked it around a couple of times, but we just didn't think it was the problem that it really has developed into. We're kind of short on cash, guys. So that's what's prompted me.
And just keep in mind, we're really a service, and so we're involved in a lot of services, and our expense to do services has increased. Automotive business has increased from 2023 to 2025. The average service bill has gone up 40%. Okay? And we're involved in the same thing, except our expenses for service is a lot more because of the rudimentary ways we do things. We don't have fancy computers and everything else like that. We have real labor time. The labor rate at the dealership right now is $180 an hour for labor. Wow. Okay, that's on a Honda. So, okay, and so it's not going down. It's going to keep on increasing. So you gotta kind of think that way, because not everybody's in a working environment as like I am today. Your environments are different, but the expense has gone through the roof, and the expense always goes back to the consumer. So, and not right now we're the consumer, and we have to sell our sales of everything. So, to survive properly and be able to do the things we need to do, we have to build up. Right now, we're just kind of sitting flatline. So we have to build up, because, we got a few $1 million of projects we have to get done, and those aren't going to get cheaper. They're going to be more and more expensive. What we pulled off with an electric over here, I'm sure that that's probably 25% more or 30% more than what we paid for those other docks, because we're in the right timing. After now, it's gonna be higher. So, gotta keep that, you can't just think that what's it gonna affect me, what's the overall effect. So, I mean, that's what you gotta look at.
I have a question. On that $180 an hour, do you know if they're hiring?
Is it? Yeah, they're always hiring. They give me a mechanic and come on down. But they always will hire a mechanic.
Just to lighten things up a little?
It's, yeah, well, the exposure's real.
So with these increases, were we going to go ahead and increase the service work that's done on the boats? The shrink wrap,
Well, we don't do shrink wrap.
the
Winterization?
winterization of the motors,
We did change,
We did
That a
increase
couple
it.
weeks ago.
yeah, we did that already.
and it's been increased?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was
A couple months ago.
That was
yeah,
different amounts.
that was only an increase of about 15,000 a year across the board, so yes. Unless there are any more questions on this slip holder license increase of 6%, I'm gonna make a motion to,
I have a question.
go ahead.
Since we are a municipality, have we done any research against other municipalities to see what their slip rates are as a price per foot
We have.
comparative to us?
Yeah, well,
We have done that in the past, I know, I don't know from Tim Connect.
Are we pretty well in line?
yeah.
The other question I've got, and this may just be an inter-office thing for simplicity's sake, but it's just something that comes to mind to me, is the percentage rate increase, last year 3%, this year 6%. Have we looked at the numbers and looked at, okay, if a 30-foot slip is $2,800 now, let's just say that that's the number, right? Rather than increasing it 6%, what if we increased it to $3,000, right? That would actually be more than 6%. So, and I'm just thinking about like the office, when somebody calls in and says, hey, I want to rent a 30-foot slip, okay, it's $3,000, or it's $3,200, or whatever the number is, rather than it being $3,145, for example, because of the percentage markup increase over the years, to kind of skew that number to not a round number, or not a number that per category.
I believe the office does kind of round that up
Yeah,
anyway.
round that up to do.
Always has, but there's Marianne, I'll just explain that.
Is that even worth discussing, or that's just even a thing?
Round it up to fives or
Okay,
zeros. I mean, we don't round it up $20 or anything like that, just.
okay. Okay. That's all I got.
Looking on your increases, you don't show,
The amount,
wages.
pardon me?
Wages?
We haven't, I didn't bring that up to discuss this time because
Yeah.
that all has to be done separately, but we're, and I'm not bringing it up to talk about tonight. That was gonna be in another couple of weeks. But cost of living is going up 2.7 versus to 2.9% from what I saw in looking at more data today, or in any of those figures you look at. So I'm going to probably propose a 4% increase across the board for wages. But that's just something for the board to discuss. City's only doing nothing or 1, 2, somebody talked me into another percent.
It's
But
proposed.
yeah, but we've had this discussion before on wage increases and stuff. I really would rather not get into it tonight on that. I purposely left it on. That's a separate issue that has to be voted on separately along with the budget, so if that's all right. But I am prepared to talk more about it if you want, it's not that. If I don't hear anything more on the slip rattle increases, I'll make a formal motion that we increase for next year slip rattles across the board at a rate of 6%.
Do we have any current slip license holders who are board members? Because they would not be able to vote.
Just you. Yep.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Yep, just me and you.
Okay, so we have a board of 7, our quorum is 4. We subtract 2 board members, we have 5, so we have a quorum. And it'll take a majority of 5 who are allowed to vote for the motion to pass. So we need 3 affirmative votes.
So I made the motion, that's where we stand, I believe.
I'll second that motion.
Do we have a roll call on it?
Yeah, we will call the roll.
Mr. Manor?
Yes. Aye.
Ms. Leo?
Aye.
Mr. Haynes, Mr. Messina can't vote. Mr. Haynes?
Aye.
Mr. Cyphers?
Aye.
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Everyone's in favor.
Do you have anything else, Mr. Ferguson?
Well, I think I've talked enough tonight.
You got her done?
I got her done.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Seriously.
All right, Mr. Haynes, claims and insurance.
Well, I heard Marianne say she's been in contact with the insurance company, and that's about all I was gonna check on.
They called here.
All right, port operations, personnel, and marina policy, that's me. Everything's been going pretty well. I mean, I think you got the ramp cleared, right?
From time to time.
Yeah, yesterday was a little challenge.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. So, I'm just glad it was somebody else's trail. All right. Other than that, I really don't have anything else other than everything's going good with the normal procedure, and it's been nice out, so that's the other plus. So we're getting to go extended. I actually made it on the water yesterday, so that's a bonus. Mr. Mayor.
I have nothing to report.
Mr. Messina, I think, is the.
Mr.
Oh,
Messina.
I'm sorry, I just skipped you. Mr. Messina, over
I don't know what's going on. I really have nothing. I've noticed the same thing, a lot of boats being removed out of the basin slowly. It works, so we have had good weather to do all that, so.
Yeah, it's a
How's the perch? I have not been out. I've been out of the water for a week and a half, so
All right, then, Mr. Mayor. Next point.
Well, the park board canceled the meeting after I got there. So there was no park board.
Didn't have a quorum.
I tell you.
So I have nothing to report.
All right, Mr. Cyphers, advertising public relations,
Nothing to report at this time.
other than your advertisement.
That's it. We
Okay.
already got that out of the way.
All right, the attorney report, Mr. Zachin.
I will review the laws and regulations at the federal and state level for the credit card fee issue. I indicated at our last meeting that I would get this down to 2 pages. This is the pavilion license agreement. I've done so. I didn't send around a new version because the last version is identical to what this is, except I took out some of the spaces at the top, and it's now all on 2 pages. So if the board has any questions, I'd be happy to address them. If not, if someone wants to make a motion that we adopt the 2025 Port Authority Pavilion License Agreement as circulated previously to the board, then the board could vote on it and approve it.
One question. Will it be the 2025 agreement or the 2026 agreement?
Well, if anybody wants to lease it this year, they've got the 2025, but every year we'll update it. So
Got it.
next year, January 1st, it'll be the 2026.
Thank you. That's it. That's all I got. Oh, I'll make a motion to approve the lease agreement for the pavilion as drawn up by Attorney Zachin.
I'll second.
Any questions? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay. I'll get this to Mary Ann so we can start using this.
Sorry.
And that's all I have.
I lost that topic. All right, anything else to bring up? No, any comments from the public? No comments from the public?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that. Thank you, Sam.
Well, this kept me right.